This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. 3 months after police dug up human remains in the backyard of a Launceston property, a young woman has denied having any involvement. 19-year-old Renee Lorraine Donald today appearing in the Launceston Magistrates Court over Tyson Timothy Clark Robertson's death.
Renee Donald today pleaded not guilty to being an accessory after the fact of murder in relation to Tyson Timothy Clark Robertson's disappearance. She was charged back in April following the discovery of human remains in the backyard of a property in Mayfield's Mitchell Street. Tyson had not been seen since last July, and detectives are confident the remains belong to him. The house was deliberately burnt down just days after the remains were found. Mayfield man Ian Rosewell has previously pleaded not guilty to Tyson's murder. Renee Donald was granted bail. She will now face the Supreme Court for trial. She's due to first appear there in October. Monika Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Molotov cocktails have been hurled at a Housing Commission unit overnight, destroying the property and forcing those inside to flee. Tasmania Police says the attackers were targeting a male living at the address.
The weapon of choice violently smashed windows and sent fire gushing throughout this Ravenswood unit. Police say it's another chapter in a dispute between the two parties.
We are aware of why they would be targeted, but we're not prepared to disclose.
The attackers wore bandanas to hide their faces, getting away over back fences as the Waring Street unit burned. The male target and his partner managed to escape uninjured before attempting to put the fire out.
It's been too ferocious, they've left. Those premises have subsequently been destroyed.
One offender is described as being young and slim. The other...
He is what is described as having a weird left ear, and the side of his face was shaved, so he had no hair on that side of his head.
Detectives have spoken to a number of witnesses following the incident. Anyone with more information should contact Crime Stoppers.
It wasn't random, and we've got a particular line of inquiry that we are following.
The damage bill from the fire is estimated to be up to $150,000. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Timber businesses are rallying behind Neville Smith Forest Products after almost $1 million worth of its stock was deliberately set alight on Tuesday night. Some of the Tasmanian oak still burning today. But the company says despite the hit, it will meet customer demands.
Gladly, some of our fellow sawmillers around Tasmania have stepped forward with offers of support and have offered to actually assist us in replacing that stock so we won't fall short on customer requirements.
Tasmania Police is investigating the incident. The company says it is considering offering a reward for information leading to a conviction. Charges are yet to be laid. Anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers. 2 Tasmanian companies benefiting from lucrative international defence projects will help push the case for domestic contracts. The state government is ramping up its effort to secure a slice of Australia's multi-billion-dollar defence spend as the opposition calls for a level playing field.
These are the marine evacuation systems currently supplying the United Kingdom's 2 largest warships. The first vessel launched just weeks ago, further cementing Tasmania's talent.
And we conducted a marine evacuation system deployment from that vessel, which created headlines around the world for the innovative product.
Not the only Tasmanian company gaining international traction. CBG Systems recently awarded an $8 billion contract for the Italian Navy, supplying Moonraker antenna systems to 9 combat patrol vessels.
And we do it better based on advanced quality, the manufacturing processes or innovation.
Just 12 months ago, CBG Systems was part of a Tasmanian consortium losing out to South Australia on a bid to build armoured fighting vehicles for the Australian Defence Force. The opposition raising concerns the national $30 billion defence program isn't a level playing field.
It becomes a state-based program for one state, for the protection of marginal states in one state. That really is not good enough.
There's a failure to recognise the primary role of the Australian Maritime College as a hub for driving manufacturing, particularly within northern Tasmania.
The state government today pushing a clear message to Canberra as several key defence contracts continue to be negotiated.
We reckon that the Australian defence spend needs also to be recognising the talent that we've got here in Tasmania and the solutions that we're offering.
Both Tasmanian companies heralding further networking, confident the state will hold its own.
Tasmanian Industries really does punch above its weight as far as capability in defence areas.
We do have a reputation around the world and we haven't been fortunate enough to deal with the Australian Navy to date, but we believe that will come.
The Defence Minister was contacted for comment. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
There are fears some childcare centres could be booted off their existing sites when the state government's lowering of the school age starts to be implemented. But the Liberals say this is just another Labor scare campaign.
Like many others across the state, this childcare centre is on the same land as a primary school. Labor fears when children are able to start kinder 6 months earlier, facilities like this will be affected.
The other very real risk is that when the government is trying to find places for the additional children undertaking kindergarten, that they will end the leases of the childcare centres that are co-located in order to provide the space.
We can't see where they're going to fit the influx of the 3.5-year-olds into the school program, and I guess this is perfect.
Michelle O'Byrne says one centre that's lease is almost up is already concerned it'll be kicked out soon.
We have had discussions with one centre that has been advised that that might be the case. There is anecdotal information as well.
But the Liberals have shut down the claims, saying leases will be renewed as per normal contract arrangements.
I think that Labor are being, alarmist, obviously, and we're working through with the childcare sector on all these issues.
Some in the sector worry once the school age is lowered, potentially from 2020, there may be no jobs for them.
They've bought houses, they've got, young families, so it's a loss of jobs for them and a loss of career.
The government maintains lowering the school starting age will make early education more accessible to everyone. Monica Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Wildlife authorities are on the hunt for those responsible for shooting a white-bellied sea eagle at Gagebrook. Conservationists say the bird would have been suffering immense pain for more than a week before it was found and put down. Tasmanian law classifies the species as vulnerable.
This is a white-bellied sea eagle. It's believed to have hit power lines or a fence and is currently in rehabilitation. It's a bird like this that was found with horrific injuries earlier this week.
A great deal of pain because I had a dislocation in the shoulder as well, which is chronically painful. Most people would understand that, and the bird's just slowly starving. Not a happy situation.
The Gagebrook Wetlands Reserve is a haven for many types of birds. This is where a birdwatcher discovered the badly injured eagle. As well as visible injuries, X-rays showed shotgun pellets in its shoulder and shattered bones.
It turned out it had more injuries than I'd determined, and it had to be euthanased, sadly.
Raptor Refuge of Tasmania helps a range of birds, including this species.
The white-bellied sea eagle is listed as a vulnerable species in Tasmania. There's only about 200 breeding pairs left. They're usually found around coastal areas or inland areas with water bodies.
With the eagle protected under Tasmania's Threatened Species Act, rangers are now on the case, with offenders facing up to tens of thousands of dollars in fines and potential jail time if convicted of animal cruelty.
This action in itself is not only irresponsible, it's criminal, and it simply robs Tasmania of one of our iconic species.
Authorities are also still appealing for information over the shooting of a wedge-tailed eagle near Orford in May.
It's like the case with the wedge-tailed eagle a couple of months ago that did get shot. We're still trying to find the people who did that, and we're offering a reward for that still.
We're still investigating that matter. We have had a number of leads, and we very much appreciate the public that have come forward to give us information. We would still appeal that if anyone else has other information, please come forward.
Details about the two incidents can be provided to Crime Stoppers anonymously. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Antarctica has suffered a dramatic ice shelf separation, creating a huge iceberg. A crack that has been growing in Larsen Ice Shelf C finally gave way. Tasmanian scientists say temperatures on the Antarctic Peninsula are increasing faster than anywhere else.
This particular iceberg, it's immense. I think it's 5,800 square kilometres in area, and it'll probably be somewhere around half a kilometre thick, I'd say, on average.
The colossal iceberg is expected to stay in the Southern Ocean before breaking up and moving north. A Perth man remains in hospital tonight following a crash in the state's north overnight. The 21-year-old was cut out of his vehicle after two cars collided at the Bass Highway and Gilbert Street intersection in Latrobe. He was taken to hospital in a critical condition but is now stable. The three occupants of the second vehicle involved sustained minor injuries. Police believe inattention was a contributing factor to the accident. More disadvantaged Tasmanians will get the opportunity to obtain their driver's licence with a new round of funding for the Learner Driver Mentoring Program. It's helping learner drivers get the 50 hours required for a driving test, with hopes it will lead to employment and education opportunities.
A young fellow we had who had literacy issues, we helped him get his learner's licence, and then we popped him into the drive time program, got his 50 hours up, got his licence on his third go, but he did get it and now he has a job.
More than 170 provisional licences were attained through the program last year. Looking at business and finance news, with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund, gains have been made in nearly all sectors of the share market as it rose by more than 1%, following signals from the US Federal Reserve that it will gradually tighten interest rates. The ASX index has risen by 63 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 77.13 US cents and 67.35 euro cents.
After edging back into the TSL Premiership debate, Glenorchy will now face its biggest test of the season when it comes up against a red-hot Clarence this weekend. While Lauderdale will look to continue its dominant ways at home against the Tigers, who only have pride left to play for.
A rivalry up there with any in the competition. This Saturday we see if the reigning premiers are the real deal or not. Coach Aaron Cornelius says it's a much different squad to the one that lost to the Roos earlier in the year. The side's recent form would agree with him.
Obviously being up 7 minutes in the last quarter and then being run over the top of was disappointing for us, but it was a young group and it was a great lesson for some guys.
Pushed to the brink against the Blues last weekend, the Roos are bolstered by three massive ins with Jason Bailey, Jack Gleeson and Jake Cox. But coach Jeremy Webberley still fancies his opponents on paper.
If you look at their list, they've probably got the best list in the competition, so we need to make sure that we go out there and play 4 good quarters, otherwise we'll get beaten.
Battling for the Bingley Linton Cup, the opening bounce is at 2 p.m. at Blunston. In Saturday's other Eastern Shore clash, Lauderdale will look to build on their thrashing of the D's when they take on the Tigers at home. Former midfielder Max Cleavercamp brushing off suggestions of an easy win.
Nah, definitely not. They're always a very dangerous team. We're very wary of them. Last time we went there, it was at point of the game, we got very close and they got on top definitely, so we need to nullify their way of playing. And
the Tigers have had 2 weeks off to prepare.
Yeah, I went to Melbourne shopping with the wife, to be honest, so some great prep work done there.
Out of finals contention, the Tigers will still look to close out their season with their pride intact, with future draft prospect Hugh Dixon returning from Allies duties.
Another big tall forward with a lot of attributes, and he would have gained so much out of the Allies experience. And those that watch the games, he led the Allies for goal kicking.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
To the NPL, and a Canadian import could be the Northern Rangers' secret weapon as the side enters this weekend's final Northern Derby. A win will give the Rangers a clean sweep over bitter rival Launceston City this season and put the side within reach of the top 4. This cheerful Canadian is about to enter the fire of a Northern Derby.
They just say it's a pretty physical game and just get ready for it.
Born in Ontario, Kensley's CV includes appearances in Spain and the United States. But his Tassie debut 3 weeks ago sent fans into a spin, although the goal sneak admits change has been challenging.
Yeah, it's a bit different, just generally the way people move, the runs they make and stuff. It makes it a bit challenging to come into a new team.
Also in the new artillery, goalkeeper Sam Watman. The latest recruit helping to build a team ready to strike come finals.
A lot of the young boys are now second-year players, and a lot of the other ones coming through are really good, keen to learn.
While the Northern Derby series is all wound up, Launceston City needs a win to get out of Wooden Spoon territory.
We haven't shown our best form against Rangers so far, so yeah, it'll be good to see how the last game finishes.
City has lost its past 8 matches.
Well, he's been dubbed the King of King Island after a mammoth effort that saw him qualify for the World Championships in the 5,000 metres event overnight. Stuart McSwain is now one of 3 UTAS Athletic Club members to do so.
The run of Stuart McSwain's life.
How fast can he go? He is opening up the legs, he is storming it. Those aluminum spikes are burning and setting the track on fire. And he is the only winner of this men's 5,000 metres at the Morton Games 2017.
Heading into the race at the Morton Games in Ireland with a personal best of 13 minutes and 34 seconds, the self-proclaimed Mayor of King Island needed to go at least 12 seconds better to qualify for next month's IAAF World Championships in London.
I was just hang on, and then when you hear the bell you never know, you might start feeling good. And I looked at the clock, it was 21, so I was like, as long as I break 60 I should run that qualifier.
And that's exactly what the 22-year-old did, powering through the last 400 metres in 58 seconds to clock a time of just under 13 minutes and 20 seconds.
I came around the bend and it just the crowd went wild, like round here, and I was like, I can't miss the time now, the crowd's gone too good. So
in another extraordinary twist, McSwain is now the 3rd UTAS Athletics Club member to qualify for the World Championships, joining fellow runner Josh Harris and javelin thrower Hamish Peacock.
Just exceptional what happened from Tasmania. I had a quick look at the stats and we're punching about 4 times above our population rate, and for it to be in one club is just exceptional.
McSwain will have to wait for official confirmation of his place on the team from Athletics Australia, but for now there's no taking away last night's achievement.
I thought that was phenomenal. I mean, he's had an absolutely fantastic season and he's getting PBs after PB, but that race was just something else.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
Desperate for its first win of the State Netball League season, OHA will have its best chance yet to notch it up when it takes on fellow cellar dweller Burnie at the Hobart Netball Centre this Saturday.
Against Burnie last time, it was ours to win and we did lose it in the last quarter. Some unforced errors and not being able to capitalise on turnovers saw us go down in that last quarter.
Cripps takes on rival Corana, 2 games out of the top 4, but still confident of making finals.
We're definitely still close. We're not that far off some of the other teams, so we've still got that fire and hunt in our bellies to get some wins.
In the weekend's other games, the Northern Hawks battle the Cavaliers, while Devon takes on Kingston.
Good evening. We had a very cold start to the day today with frost and valley fog in the morning. A rain band brought some rain to the west. Hobart reached a top of 11. It was 13 in Launceston and Burnie and 14 in Devonport. 15 degrees was the state's high at Friendly Beaches and Flinders Island. It was 14 at Grove and Strawn, 13 at Lowhead, Maria Island and St Helens, 5 degrees at Laoini and 3 at Bushy Park. Here we can see a middle to high level cloud band streaming over southwest Australia with some speckled low level cloud behind. There's also some low cloud over the east coast. Closer in on Tasmania, high level cloud streaming over the state with low level cloud underneath. Tomorrow the chart shows a cold front crossing Tasmania and extending into Victoria and South Australia with a trough crossing New South Wales. North to northwesterly winds reaching 30 knots about the north, seas 2 to 3 metres. There's a strong wind warning for all Tasmanian coastal waters and a small craft wind alert for the southwest lakes. It's going to be a wet day around the state tomorrow. Hobart, rain easing with a top of 13, Huonville 12, Campania 14. More rain in the north, Launceston and Devonport both 12 degrees, and there's a possible storm for Georgetown. Burnie, rain easing 12, possible storms for Strawn and Wynyard. And even the east coast can't escape the rain. St Helens and Port Arthur 13, Swansea 14. Looking ahead to the weekend, showers in the west and south on Saturday, clearing in the afternoon, snow falling to around 700 metres. Sunday will have a frosty start with showers about the north and west, tending to rain in the afternoon and extending statewide in the evening. And we'll see more rain on Monday, clearing from the southeast in the afternoon. And now let's take a look around the mainland tomorrow. A sunny day for Brisbane and Darwin, cloudy in Sydney and Perth, rain in Canberra and showers expected for Melbourne and Adelaide.
That's all from the news team for now. We'll see you with updates throughout the evening. Bye-bye.